What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today is an awesome day. We're on spooky season 3 on this podcast. But anyway, this is a podcast to tell you about life experiences, a life story, everything in between. Something for you to listen to while you're doing whatever you're doing, cleaning house, or whatever you're doing, or even might possibly be just doing whatever. You have me in the background. Hopefully, I can make you cry. Not cry, I should say. Not cry, but make you laugh, giggle, smile, hopefully. Maybe put a little bit of light in your darkest cloud. Somewhat. I don't know. But yes, today dude, this is my favorite time of year. I'm telling you guys, I get more hyped about October than I do any other days of the month or months of the year. So excited I can't even keep my thoughts straight. Tell you what, man, I probably told you all this, but when I was a kid, I loved Halloween. But when I got a teenager, I actually enjoyed it. When I was a teenager, started driving, and me and my friends would go out on Halloween night. We would go. We wouldn't trick or treat. That's crazy. We thought we were too old to trick or treat, and we thought that was a kids game. So we tried to escalate it. When we got a little bit older, by going to haunted houses, and there's a few around where I used to grew up at, and a pretty big one too because they're still going every year to the same spot. And um, I don't know if y'all remember, but I told you the story about me and my friends went in my first time, and we had a friend of ours, a friend of mine, girlfriend, freaking out. And I'm keep on calling out her name, and what unknown to me, every time I said her name, the people who were spooking the haunted house was saying her name in a creepy way and freaking her out even more. And finally, my friend goes, "Would you shut up? Calling her name because you're saying, oh crap, I'm sorry." I told her I apologize. Didn't wasn't realize what was going on, but but yeah, we go to haunted houses and all that stuff. I was actually part of a uh, a scary house or a haunted house, whatever. We I was in the coffin. Now I'd raise up and try to grab the people who walked by me and freak a few of them out. It was pretty. It was a fun time. But back, when I first started driving, me and my friends would get in on Halloween and we'd cruise around. We wouldn't really cruise around. We'd just drive around and see if we could find, haunted houses and go through them. And we did that, and we had this corn maze, which was a pretty good group. It was a charity event. This organization, they of course done the cornfield. They did different. You see them. There's a lot of them out there now that has different designs in them, but it's a big old corn maze, and all the profits go from to a children's home. Um, and I thought it was a good cause because they know me that I was in that area. I seen what kind of work they did, and they really took care of the troubled teens and troubled kids and stuff like that. And but we always went there, and it seemed like every year it would rain, and the pathway would be so muddy, and always got covered in mud. But later in life, I started working there. I started on the fire department. I did it on the weekends. They were only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, oh wait, I take that back. They were open during the week, but they would only haunt the maze after dark on Friday night and Saturday night. And I used to volunteer as security. They put me in a big old cherry lift. I sit there and watch these people when you see flashlights running because they got scared because somebody haunted them. My job was to make sure that nobody was sneaking in or cutting through the corn, whatever. But it was good. It was a good time. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. The scenery, like I said, the kids were having fun. That's all that mattered. It was a safe place for kids to go, and groups of people to go. Family orientated thing. They didn't haunt it during the day. So if you want to go out there and enjoy the corn maze before dark, they didn't haunt it before dark. You go in there at your leisure. They had little pedestals up there, and can I tell you like a little story? You go then you find the next pedestal and you read it, and it adds to the story, and it just keeps going on. And it was fun. You could do that with your kids. If you didn't want to get scared or get haunted, they were they would comply to that. They would not haunt it until dark, around 9 p.m. Basically 8 9 p.m. whenever it started getting dark. But so that was fun, and of course they had a stand there to get burger or hot dog or whatever, water, soda, whatever you wanted to get. They had it there. They had a haunted train ride. Of course, like again, that was the same rules as the corn maze. They didn't haunt the hayride trail until after dark. Before, you just want to go on a hayride, you get on there and you can see these. I mean, they didn't haunt them, but they saw, they put decorations up where they drive by, and of course they had animals there. They had goats and stuff, so they drove the hayride by them for the kiddos, and it was a fun time. And of course, then they had these little boxing robots where you get in this robot and you got these little two joysticks, and you would have buttons and you could punch the other guy until their head pops up, like a rock 'em sock 'em kind of thing. But they're robots. You go in there and you actually drive around like bumper cars. You just hit. So they did that. That was fun. I mean, of course, then they had the little bitty train ride for the little kids, the real small little child, 1, 2, 3 year old, just like homemade. Running behind a four-wheeler, had these little barrels that would cut open, look like cows and stuff, a cow print on it, and they would put the kids in there and drive it all right through the little park they had. Then they had a paintball field there where if you want to play a little bit paintball, they had guns and stuff, and you go out there and have a good old time. And that it was a great time working out there. Of course, we what else? They even brought out a band. They're kind of getting some ground. I know the one of the singers on there because he worked at the Corn Maze, and they call Route 3 or something like that. They're on YouTube. You can look them up if you want. It's bluegrass, gospel bluegrass, whatever. But they'd go out there on once or twice through the time and play on a little hay trailer, call it, for the people out there, and had fun. You see the older people who came out there. That's who they went. They went and listened to the band. They had a lawn chair sitting out there listening to them while their other kids are out there having fun. Of course, schools go out there all the time, and take the kids during the day. It was a good old time. It was great. I enjoyed going out there. That thing would be busy and packed all weekend long. Went out there, I usually started on Friday and Saturday. Went out there, and it was fun. It was a tremendous time. Oh, it always sucked when it was over because you make friends out there, and you couldn't wait till next year to do it, and that's what it was all about. And but good old times like that as a family, I do encourage. You don't have to even make Halloween scary. I mean, yes, there's a lot of scary movies on TV, but on the day you can see, people do dress up as scary people, but you don't even have to dress up like scary people. You can dress up like a cowboy, princess, whatever you want to dress up as a child, and it could be a clean fun. You can go to your friend's house and trick or treat, or what do they do now? They do the trunk or treat, whatever, which I really think that is not as fun, but it is what it is in the day that we live in. But you can still make it fun and clean and enjoyable and a family orientated thing. I get a lot of kicks out of just sitting at home and handing out candy. There's still some of the old fashioned people, trick or treaters that come around and stuff like that. And it's fun to hand out candy, see what all these kids are dressed up as, and the parents are having fun too because sometimes they dress up as well. But it's all good, all fun. Um, yes, there is some not knuckleheads out there that may cause it a horrible time, but hey, it is what it is. You just gotta stay away from that, and hope that shame on them for trying to ruin somebody's family time and having fun. I know when I worked at the firehouse, we would set up on Halloween night. We would set up a little. We had a little entryway that goes into our day room, our training room. I should say training room. We'd put up all the tables, and we'd block off the entrance to the bay and to the office area. It was just a hallway. We would decorate that hallway, and it leads into our training room, and it opens up, and we would decorate it for Halloween. Keep it dark. We even put a little bit of smoke machine in there to get the smoke hovering on the ground. And these kids would come in, we hand them candy, and they get walked through. We call the hallway a tear at the fire department, whatever. It was just scary. Just stuff hanging up. We didn't scare the kids. Well, I take that back. My captain used to dress up in this fire gear, helmet and stuff, and put straw in his hands. And he'd sit out there in front of the door. And he wouldn't scare little babies or little kids. He'd just sit there quietly, let them walk in. But the little older kids, he'll come up and grab them and give them a little jump scare. And they come in and hand out candy. And they leave. It was a fun time. And it was safe. We made it a safe place for kids. If you can't trust your firefighters, who can you trust, right? But yeah, I love this time of year. Guys, I'm going to leave this with you today. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please hit that like button down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Guys, like I've said before, be somebody's light, somebody's darkest cloud. Somebody could be having a bad day. A hi from you could make their day a whole lot better. And, do unto others or you unto yourself. And, guys, stay safe out there. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy the Halloween-ish time of the month. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.